concerns about over what it will do. So first of all, I have concerns that the bill is choosing to limit the oversight powers of parliamentary committees with respect to the directives and regulations that will be adopted by the CRTC. It's in the end part of these amendments to the Broadcasting Act that will go around the powers that Parliament rightfully has to oversee what is being done. I get this all the time. Constituents are asking me to intervene into the actions and regulatory activities of the CRTC. So it's in the back end, and I have concerns about this. In the Act, the broadcasting undertakings includes a distribution undertaking, and it's adding an online undertaking. And so this is where I have a lot of people in my riding, and probably about a dozen, who have quite successful YouTube channels. Toy channels, just travel, when travel was easily available to do. And YouTube is one of those platforms which I think the government is targeting for regulation because it does two things. It's both a streaming service and it's also a platform, kind of a commons area, kind of like this chamber, for people to put up funny videos, put up serious videos, and put up their opinions. And whether you like their opinions or not, I think is totally secondary. So I think this is an expansion of what the government is trying to do. So at the very beginning, when the legislation was tabled, and now I see a lot of independent media saying they're very concerned that they're going to be regulated directly by the government. So who gets to decide what is misinformation? And what I see happening by mostly parties on the left, but it happens, I think, all over the spectrum. I don't think misinformation is now whatever I don't like, whatever opinion I don't agree with. And I know there's a lot of Liberal caucus members who they have opinions I disagree with. But I don't want to censor them. I want to debate them on the floor of the House, preferably. I don't want to do it over Twitter. I will say Twitter, to me, is one of the lowest of all platforms. It's where people get attacked, mobbed, and basically treated like second-class citizens, I think would be a nice thing to say. When I talk to constituents about it, I call Twitter generally a sewer, is what it is. The type of activities, the bots that are all over the place, the vicious attacks I've seen on politicians, both on the Liberal caucus side and against Conservatives. All members, I think, have been victims at some point of really nasty online commentary, either calling for violence and treating them like very poorly. That, I think we can all agree with, is something awful, and I think something quite unique to that particular platform. Going on to other parts of legislation I'm worried about, there is a part in here that is changing and amending a portion of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, not the act, but kind of what the intention is here. So I'm going to just read into the record. The Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, as the national public broadcaster, should provide broadcasting, that's the new amendment, services incorporating a wide range of programming that informs, enlightens, and entertains. I have a hard time, you're giving me the signal to end, Madam Speaker, so I'll finish on this point. I have a hard time believing that lots of the material right now being broadcast by the CBC or on their online platforms informs or enlightens or entertains, unless it's a high form of satire that they're producing in their news section. So, Madam Speaker, my time is up, and I thank you for giving me the signal. Or you're saying I have another minute. Well, we'll continue then. Just to say that in C-10, in this legislation, I don't think the government achieves what it wants to do. And the idea that they had months ago when they tabled it, a modernization of broadcasting, is something generally many members here could agree with, especially, at least in my lifetime, with the advent of the internet. We saw a lot of people migrate. So a lot of customers migrated away from cable providers. Cable used to be the it thing in the 1990s. I would have known. I never had cable. My family couldn't afford it. But everybody has migrated to these online services. And now the government is basically catching up to regulating these online services. But I think they're going way overboard. I think they've missed the mark. I don't think this is the way we should go about regulating it, and taking away from Parliament the ability to question and oversee regulators like the CRTC. I consistently get complaints about the CRTC, and I don't think more government power, what is shared online by Canadians, the discussions that they're having at home and then online, is an area the government should be getting into. I don't think they have the wisdom. I don't think they have the ability. They'll always be catching up to where society and civic institutions that are not attached to government are going. So I think they're erring, and I won't be supporting this particular legislation. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Questions or comments? The Honourable Minister of Canadian Heritage. Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I must confess I'm a bit confused because the member just spoke at length about a bill that hasn't been tabled, which is an upcoming bill on issues of online harm, child pornography, incitement to violence,
Point of order.
to terrorism.
Could members not participating please put their mics? Do you have a point of order? The honourable member. We don't have your sound. You put yourself on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Thank you, Speaker. Yes, sorry, the individual was not on screen, and I just realized now he did add himself to camera, so appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, the Minister was on screen from the start here. Please proceed, the Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So as I was saying, I'm a bit confused. The member spoke at length about a bill that hasn't been tabled, which is a bill that will be dealing with online harm, such as child pornography, incitement to violence, terrorism. And it seems he hasn't read Bill C-10, which deals with how the government wants to legislate to ensure that online platforms do their fair share when it comes to cultural investments in Canada, Madam Speaker. It has nothing to do with online harm, which is a very important subject. And in fact, many members of the opposition have asked us to. But it's a bill that bill hasn't been tabled.
I have to give the honourable member for Calgary Shepherd an opportunity to answer.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. To the Minister's point, he said in November 18th, 2020 in a House of Commons speech, and he was referring to this legislation, he was talking about tackling the issue, saying voluntary self-regulation does not work. Including Canada, we're concerned about misinformation, online hate, and web giants' blatant inability to self-regulate. And he goes on and on and on. I think the two issues are together. You're handing massive powers to the CRTC and taking away powers from Parliament. I look forward to seeing this other legislation that the Minister proposes to table before the House.